Hi everybody, welcome to the Eco-Friendly Banter. This little video is going to be about Tara, her emanations, the practice that I want to start on this channel, what I think about Tara and her mandala psychologically, because that is how it has helped me personally, and why I think it is very important for all of us. And lastly, I'll be sharing a channel message that I got a couple of days ago. And I think the causes were maybe not ripe enough for me to share them, but I believe today they are. So here it is. To begin with, as her name suggests, that she is indeed a star. Tara means a star, and to me, she's literally a diva, because that is how she's been in my life. And also, to be very very clear, I'm not a meditation trainer. I'm not a teacher. I'm not a lama. I'm not all of that. So whatever I'll share is totally based on my own experience and how I um, perceive all of these things. So take everything with a grain of salt. Use your own discretion, use your own mind. And I would suggest you a couple of books maybe at the end, and you can go buy them and read them. And I would I would be glad to know what you feel about these things. Anyway, so she is one of the most prominent, most famous deities in Buddhism, and she's called the mother of all Buddhas. And although Bodhisattvas, who are highly enlightened Buddhas, highly enlightened Buddhas, who take a vow that they will not leave this samsara until and unless everybody, in whichever realm they are, is freed. Okay, so they stay here, quote unquote, on the gates to make sure that everybody's out. So just imagine the kind of compassion that takes. I don't have it. So whenever we pray, I don't pray that. It takes a lot of compassion to do something like that. Anyway, so she's a bodhisattva, and her aim, as a bodhisattva, her purpose, so to speak, is to swiftly help anyone who calls upon her. Anybody. But the way I see her is just another manifestation of my own self. She is, since we all are one and every single thing is intricately connected, because this nature, this universe is empty of individual existence, and so are we. And when we connect to deities or anyone whatsoever, it is just about aligning ourselves to that particular frequency. So this is the perspective that's going to be shared in this video. And if you align even a tad bit with it, and I would suggest you that you stay here, and I'll also discuss the psychological aspect of it. She is the mother who helps you ferry across this ocean of samsara, which is the constant birth and constant death. In Bhaj Govindam, written by Adi Shankaracharya, he says, Punarapi Jananam, Punarapi Maranam, which means it's happening over and over again, thousands and thousands of years in the same cycle, learning same sort of lessons, this tiring existence that we talk about. And her purpose is to get us out of it. But she will not pull you like this. She'll transmute every negativity that you have within yourself, or everything that is not wisdom, to wisdom, whether it's your fears, whether it's your sadness, grief, violence, whatever it is. We'll talk about that. And as she's called the mother of all Buddhas, whenever someone gets enlightened, you don't have to go to forests, you don't have to go sit under trees to become a Buddha. Every time a person realizes the true nature of reality, they become a Buddha. And she's the wisdom that dawns upon one. She is that. One of her stories says that many moons ago, like many years ago, she developed immense amount of compassion, and she was progressing spiritually very, very fast. That is when a couple of monks saw her practice. They were impressed, but they told her that she'll have to be born again as a man and come again to be liberated. But since she has already realized the nature of reality, she knew that all these differences of being a man and a woman, or old and young, and all of these things, they don't exist, right? They're an illusion. And I have also talked about this on my channel many times, that the moment you leave your body, all these differences that you have in your mind, whether it's related to your caste, creed, language, gender, color, or whatever, they'll be gone. They'll be gone. At that time, she said that she vows to come back over and over again as a woman, to stay here until the entire samsara is empty. So her exact words are this. Let me read them out to you. So she says, there are many who desire enlightenment in a man's body, but none who work for the benefit of sentient beings in the body of a woman. Therefore, until samsara is empty, I shall work for the benefit of sentient beings in a woman's body. So when we talk about bodhisattvas, we don't talk about genders and all of that. If you are aware of Kuan Yin, you'll know what I'm talking about. Like, they have no gender, right? For some people, she appears as a woman, and for others, it's a man. Same with many archangels, by the way. If you are aware of Archangel Gabriel or Archangel Raphael, you'll know that it is same with them. Anyway, so since she vowed to be born as a woman, which is why she's called the mother, right? And all the other 21 emanations that you can see on the mandala are hers. Just like we have Nav Durgas, we have the Saptamatrikas, Ashtamatrikas, we have Das Mahavidyas and all of that. They are all manifestations of the Divine Mother. Right. So the main Tara, the one, the most prominent one that we are talking about is Mother Green Tara. Okay. And all others, whether it's blue, black, red, whichever color it is, it's golden, all of them are emanations. And all of them help you transmute or change, transform something that is maybe holding you back or trying to keep you into this in this cycle of samsara, and turn it into wisdom, compassion. No? Her primary goal is to help you realize the nature of reality. Okay. And if your belief is, of course, something else, don't come at me. This is what I've realized with my practice. And when I did my practice, I vowed to her. And if you read the posts that I do on the channel, you might have seen that I wrote there that it, like, she'll let me know if I want to do the series. Turns out she did. No, but I was sabotaging myself. I was very, very scared because I am not very comfortable coming on screen or being seen. I don't know why that happens, but you get what I mean. So I kept on avoiding it for a couple of weeks, but now I can't. No, it feels like going against the thing that I really want to share, betraying the entire message. There is actually one Tara who helps you in alleviating these fears, sabotaging yourself, or she helps you understand. If you want more clients, let's say, then she'll be there. If you want more prosperity, Golden Tara is the one. If you want psychic powers, eloquence, Blue Tara. Get rid of negativity, Black Tara. If you want to be protected from violence, laziness, negative energies, there are different taras for that. If you want direct experience of non-duality, there's another tara for that. So for every single thing, there's a tara. She does not ask you to pray to her. She doesn't care about all of that. Okay. She just wants you to awaken yourself. And that is my point as well. This entire series is going to be nothing but meditations, but these will be analytical and contemplative meditations that we'll do, in which we'll study a bit about that particular Tara, what she stands for, or maybe these will be a couple of videos that I'll share. I don't know how this will progress, or if this will progress, I don't know. I'm surrendering all of it. But anyway, we'll share about her, what she stands for, what kind of problem she solves psychologically. For example, let's say the first swift heroic red Tara, right? So she has her own iconography, all of that. Instead of going into that, we'll study what her message is. So there's a different praise for each of them, which kind of tells what function she has, right? Let's say if you have a lot of anger, you have to see where that anger is coming from, right? And all kind of anger, it comes from grief or from fear. And this particular Tara helps you recognize what that fear is. If you don't know the source of your anger, this Tara will help you do that, right? Or she'll help you find the source of that grief and then come into complete awareness of it and alleviate it. If you don't know why you're not getting money, where are those sources blocked, quote unquote? What internal belief is stopping you from manifesting the kind of abundance that you think you deserve? Then Golden Tara will help you with that. So all of these problems, which seem to be very outwardly and like worldly, all of them have a root within ourselves, whether it's in our relationships, whether it's in our health, our career, anything whatsoever, right? So in all those things, these taras will help. And once we sort of transmute that negativity into wisdom, to kind of come into consciousness about a lot of problems, because a lot of filth will come up. And I'm calling it filth because it actually is. When you are a sincere sadhak, you come to terms with a lot of garbage that is stored within yourself, uh, which you have to be compassionate about, by the way. You don't have to like guilt trip yourself into anything, but um, we hold on to a lot of things that we don't have to. Like, there's no need at all. And the world that is outside, it's just a mirror of what we have in that, like within ourselves. And I think this practice can help you come face to face with a lot of that. And another story of hers, by the way, it goes like Avalokiteshvara, who is also a bodhisattva, he was going through different hells, different realms, trying to alleviate suffering, trying to free people. And the more people he freed, like the more beings, let's say sentient beings, he freed, um, the more he came across. There was so much suffering, and it took a toll on him. He broke down into thousands of pieces. He cried a lot. Bodhisattvas or other Buddhas, they came, they put him back together. And from his tears became a pond or a lake. And in that arose a lotus. And on that was Green Tara, with her leg outstretched, which means she is ready to offer help. In the last story, we learned that the one of Wisdom Moon, we learned that you don't have to be somebody else, or you don't have to be anybody else. We sometimes think that once this happens, I'll meditate. Once this happens, I'll start my shadow work. You don't need to. No, you can do shadow work. You can meditate right where you are, even if it's for just 2 minutes. You can uh, journal wherever you are. You can just have a notebook and just do it, whether you are commuting, or it's just that your intent and conviction has to be strong. And when I say these things, doesn't mean that I'm perfect. I think I am the most flawed person there is, and I'm nobody to say all these things. But I think this is my way of building a community and sort of sharing the things that I'm learning on my journey. And this story, the one of Avalokiteshvara, it tells us that it's okay to accept help, and that help is available sometimes when life is, let's say, not too kind to us. That's the most polite way to put it. Anyway, so I think when life is not too kind to us, we become hyper independent. We do not trust others. We don't trust help because we think that everybody else wants something in return from us for that help. And this was something that I had to deliberately work on for 2 to 3 years when it came into my awareness. So that hyper independence, it distorts our feminine energy. It's okay to accept help, and help is always available, not just from divine, of course, who is um, always there, but also from the people on the path. Every single person who is working to awaken themselves, to embody the truth, um, all the teachers, all the Buddhas, everyone who's been on the path ever, people who love you, all of us, every single person is there to help you, or at least send you prayers to maybe ease your path, because that's what prayers do, right? And now coming to our mandala, right? When you go through certain lineages or whatever, I think those things are also mandalas. If you're aware of Kriya Yoga, you'll see that there's Mahavtar Babaji, and then there's Lahiri Mashay, and then there's Yukteswar Giriji, and then Paramahansa Yogananda. What is that? That's a mandala in itself. All of them are the same consciousness, but it's like a different frequency. It's like stages on the path. And similarly, all of these are also different frequencies which we can access. All of these are potentials that you have within you. It's just that we have to clear those negative beliefs, negative energy from within us, from our past lives. All of that will come up. That is fine. And make space for something new. We have to fill it up with something new. And that is what my intention with this is. Because simply just worshipping a deity, it's something that I do not believe in, myself. I don't believe in mechanical worship. I don't believe in all of that. I believe all of them, whosoever it is, every single being on the planet rather, is within me. How I'm seeing them is how I relate to them. And so when you pray to Tara, And when you visualize her function, and then she comes in your energy, in your being, that is one way of embodying her, one way of knowing that you and the deity are not separate, that you are not praying to someone who is bigger or more divine and all of that. No, no, that is your own potential. That is us, but on a different frequency, and that is the frequency that we are trying to access. That is what I believe. Okay, I can be wrong, you can say whatever, but this is what I personally experienced. Okay, now coming to the message that she gave 2 days ago. I hope I'm able to translate it, because I'm not near my altar right now. There were cards that I got, and first was God. Second was, these were the archetypes, by the way: the prostitute, victim, beggar, seeker. And if you see the pattern, you'll know that it goes from here to here, but then there's this entire very, very dense kind of energy that it is going through, right? And when I laid those cards out, I felt this urge to constantly switch places between the god and the prostitute card. And that is when it clicked that the lesson that she wants to give for this particular teaching or the video is about the innermost rim of the Bhava Chakra. I'm talking about this innermost rim. So I don't know if it's clear, but there's a snake, there's a pig, and then there's a rooster. This pig, it represents ignorance. This, and then there's snake and the rooster, who represent craving and aversion. Of course, they give rise to each other, but all of them are always happening simultaneously. For example, if you are averse to someone or something, if you don't like someone, let's say, if I don't like, let's say, a person called A, there must be a reason that I don't like that person, right? But deep within, there's a reason that maybe that person doesn't give me enough attention, which means that there's this craving for attention, right? A very stupid example, but you get my point. Or, and then like you start disliking somebody or whatever. But all of this is happening because one doesn't know the truth. And these are the things which keep this entire cycle moving. And all of us, we keep on, taking birth in these different realms over and over again for thousands of years, just to get rid, of this entire cycle. And this is the Bodhisattva, the finger pointing to the moon. This is what you can be. This is illumination. This is awakening. This is the Bodhisattva who's pointing to it, right? So this is also not a goal. Even this is not, because this is also reflecting the nature of reality. It is not something that can be, again, this is my view of it. Moon, it reflects sun's light. When it comes to knowing about that light, only you can do that. Nobody can do it for you. Everybody can just point to the truth. Someone who has experienced that truth or understood that truth, they can point to the truth, but it is you yourself who has to make that effort to kind of understand the truth, because it is not something that you can read in books or listen from somebody. You have to experience it yourself. You have to sit with yourself. You have to understand yourself. Only then it comes out. Anyway, so we were talking about the gasoline which keeps the samsara, the cycle, moving. And now coming back to God, prostitute, victim, beggar, and all of that. When you realize that these realms, whichever exist in the Bhava Chakra, whether it's in the realms of gods or ghosts or whatever, they exist within you. Okay. Every time you crave something, every time you feel jealous of somebody because they have something but you don't, you're in the realm of pretas. You're in the realm of health. And that's a hell. When you feel this immense amount of anger towards somebody, hatred towards somebody, and you are like vibrating at this extremely low level of frequency, that is a hell. When you're happy, you are in nature or doing something that you love, enjoying yourself, that is when you are in another realm. So you don't have to be in different subtle realms to experience all of these things. Of course, these beings exist, but every single thing whichever exists outside, whether subtle or gross, it's within us as well. So the idea is to correct everything within us so that the outer experience improves. That is my point. Okay. So when we talk about prostitute, victim, beggar, it means every single time when we feel abandoned, when we feel victimized, when we feel that we need to chase something, we need to grasp something, when we are so stuck in the story of me and mine, and every single thing revolves around us, that we forget that person sitting in front of us might be suffering even more. That is when we are in these lower realms, right? And when you realize that every single thing is happening because of your karma, your prarabdha, and it had to happen that way, and the only way out of it is by not reacting, by being in the present moment and sort of observing whatever is rising in your mind instead of reacting. So responding instead of reacting. That is when you free yourself. That is when you're in the realm of gods. We could talk about gods, let's say demigods in another sense also. They're politicians or extremely rich people who try to exploit others, but we're not getting into that. Okay, I'm talking about, let's say, the god state, where you're aware of the reality, where you know that no, this is not it, no, this is not real, that you'll have to come back over and over again, even for the littlest of things that you're feeling, if they are not attuned with the reality. I don't know how to put it very easily or simply, but um, hate, aversion, ignorance, all of them, they happen simultaneously. When you are ignorant of the truth that all of us are connected, all of us are suffering in different capacities, whosoever it is, all sentient beings, whether or not they are visible, all animals, ghosts, or whatever, and all of them, everyone is stuck in this cycle. Now, I don't know how to explain that. I've not reached a point where I can put that into simple words, but I hope I'm able to translate some of it, right? So that is what the lesson was. And a seeker is the one who is able to see all these things within themselves. So when these things keep on happening simultaneously, right? I achieved this and now I want that, want that, want that. That craving doesn't end. Since craving doesn't end, the hatred that I feel for somebody else, like not me, of course, but anybody, whatever, that we feel for somebody else, who has maybe more, it also doesn't end. The comparison doesn't end. Insecurity doesn't end. We keep on abandoning ourselves. We keep on chasing wrong things, wrong people, um, just to make sure that we feel good about ourselves, that somebody else appreciates us, that we stand somewhere in the society or whatever. But all of that arises from the same ignorance, that we don't need all of that. We are worthy as is. There can be so many examples, so many examples. All of these things, they keep on piling up one after another. Little thing happens and then we feel this hatred, this malice, anger, pride, jealousy, etc. towards somebody else, which gives rise to aversion. We start abhorring, feeling disgusted at them. I'm not perfect. I felt all these things. I still feel sometimes. And then there's, as I said, there's craving for more money, more love, more whatever. And the cycle keeps on going. We could keep on sabotaging our integrity, our spiritual integrity, for material gains, for momentary pleasures, for somebody else's validation. Some people get into really, really bad things like black magic and all that stuff because of these things, and then they pile up even more karma, and then they stay in this cycle for even more years. You know, then this feeling of abandonment or this feeling of being not enough never goes, right? The lack consciousness, it never goes, and then it manifests outside as well, in our relationships, in money, in everything. So this cycle, it's when you start thinking about it, it drives you crazy. And if it doesn't, then maybe you need to think about it a little more deeply. um, yeah, there's no other way I can put it. And I think a true seeker is the one who, regardless of anything, keeps on moving on the path, who does not try to think too much of the path, but at the same time does not decide about going back or changing the path too much. Keeps moving regardless. Who observes all these things arising within him or her, whatever, and still keeps moving. And that is when he comes back to this God state that I was talking about, where you know that all of this is not real. You were taking lifetimes after lifetimes, conditioning after conditioning, experiences kept on piling, and then every single life had I, me, mine, and that I, me, mine had different stories that were happening to it, and different kind of grief that was arising in different lifetimes, different hatred, different things that you craved. All of them kept on piling up, and in all of that, even in this life, let's say if you don't believe in past lives, let's just move it aside. Your parents told you you are this. My parents told me I am this and that and that. And there must have been people who told you something nasty as well, that you are this and that. Like, it's like throwing a stone at you, and you kept on taking those stones. But since you have to keep those stones somewhere in your energy, you kept on throwing your energy away somewhere, and started piling up yourself with that energy, and that energy started making your subconscious beliefs, if that makes sense. I think that is the simplest way that I can put it. And those subconscious beliefs, they start creating your mindset. Even if you're a very good person, let's say you're a beautiful human being, kind human being who wants good for everybody, every single thing, but still your life is not going the right way. I don't think any way is wrong way, but let's say you're not happy or at peace, there has to be something that's going wrong, right? So sometimes that just comes with being a little too observant of others, being too about others than ourselves. That also hampers our peace. And then slowly that also turns into hatred and craving and all of that. And all of that arises from ignorance. So that gasoline, it keeps on renewing itself. And that is what we have to work on. And I think all these meditations, all these videos that I intend to make will help us in understanding ourselves a little better. And of course, in understanding Tara a little better as well. And also, I'm very beginner at all this. I'm very beginner at interacting with people who are not in my immediate circle. I'm very, very introvert in that sense. And so please forgive me if there was something that you didn't like, or if something didn't make sense to you, or if you felt like I was just blabbering. I don't know, man. I'm also on the path. But I feel called to share. I feel that it is very important to remind ourselves of the truth. Whenever we find ourselves thinking of past or future over and over again, it doesn't exist anymore, no matter how sad it is, no matter how painful it is, and we keep on changing those thoughts to thinking. It's important to ground ourselves in the present moment, and realizing that we don't have to do that. We have to stop seeing our past or future in that sense, or we keep on daydreaming about these things. Even when you by the way, if you have observed that if you daydream about something, or if you dream about something, we often daydream about the things which kind of validate our pride, which kind of validate our need for, let's say, love, or money, or they kind of validate our insecurities or whatever, which also means that we are living in lack. We have that lack consciousness somewhere. We are not feeling complete within ourselves. That even without money, even without the kind of, maybe mansions or whatever, we feel complete. Again, if you go to the posts that I have on my channel, you'll see that there's this very nice Tamil poet's poem that I have. So a saint doesn't need anything, he still sleeps like a king. So I think that's what sums up what I want to say. And now coming to us worldly beings who are in the modern world, it is very important, yes, to get out of the wheel of samsara, but also to focus only on our own spirituality, only on our own life. By the way, even if we are all connected and all, just focus on your own liberation. Like, don't go around telling people that, oh, you're wrong and all of that, because what I am saying also is totally applicable to me. I don't care what you're doing, because Why would I? Anyway, I wish you the best. I hope that you are an intelligent, discerning human being and you'll take best decisions for yourself. But it's important. It's important to be aware, and it's important to share what we can with others. So this is where I think I will sign off. I think I'm blabbered way too much, and I hope it has helped you in any way. And if it has, I would love to know. If you have different views, I would love to know them too. And if you can elaborate a couple of things easily in my comments or wherever, I will really appreciate that, because I'm still learning how to be more vocal and kind of put things into simple words. That's very difficult for me. I don't know why it happens when I'm talking in my mother tongue. It comes very easily and very organically. I don't know what happens in English. So yeah. Anyway, so I hope that you join me on this little journey that we're going to make, and we're going to study Swift Heroic Tara next, about our fears, angers, psychologically, a bit of what she helps us with, and then maybe I'll share a real world example, of a lady who embodied this particular Tara and what we can do to embody her. And then maybe we can do a little meditation as well to kind of find where exactly those fears, whatever, lie. And this is where I take your leave. Thank you.